The Victor Osimhen news is back. Here we go again. It's all happening. Supposedly, Xabi Alonso is interested in having the striker at the club next season. Reports indicate Marc Cucurella is being targeted by Atletico Madrid. The Guardian think Chelsea are interested in West Ham's Jared Bowen if they get relegated. There's an idea that Lewis Hall might find his way back to Chelsea from Newcastle. It's reported that a deal is in place for Valentin Barco of Strasbourg and he's on his way. Enzo Maresca is the new Man City manager, but supposedly it wasn't the plan all along. Mike Pender's to join the first team next season, but is he ready? Emanuel Emegha speaks out about a conversation he had with Blueco and about him joining Chelsea. And two of Chelsea's Brazilian players have been left out of the national squad for the World Cup. How do we feel about it? Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. I had a day off yesterday because I've been in the studio. I'm in for a couple of times this week, but that's enough about that. Let's get straight into today's news. Graham Bailey posted this on May the 18th, and I'm a little bit late catching up with it because I've been busy, but it's definitely worth talking about. Victor Osimhen's representatives and intermediaries are once again actively exploring elite-level opportunities across Europe, with Chelsea one of those approached as they prepare for the arrival of Xabi Alonso, Team Talk can reveal. Oh, mate, here we go again, man. Here we go again. Mate, I remember for the last few summers, it's just been Osimhen. Content creators, the news, the media. There seems to be some ineffable link between Victor Osimhen and Chelsea. He was supposedly a fan when he was a kid. Obviously looks like an elite level striker, largely based on what he did in Italy, but I still don't know how I feel about it. Like, initially, when we didn't get him and he went to Galatasaray, because, you know, it fell apart at Napoli, he kind of fell out with the club there, I was very much like, I'm a little bit worried about Lukaku syndrome, right? Because Lukaku, absolutely unbelievable in Italy, and then we bring him to Chelsea and he looks awful, absolutely awful. So I was concerned about Victor Osimhen being kind of the same. Victor Osimhen, so this is the interesting thing, right? He went to Galatasaray and he's doing well at Galatasaray, 100% he is, but does that mean that he's still the same player that was there at Napoli? Do we think that he can do it in the Premier League? The obvious really big question about Victor Osimhen in terms of, like, can he come to Chelsea was the money he wanted. He wanted like £400,000 a week after tax. Do you know what I mean? After tax. Wild stuff. Absolutely wild stuff. That'd be one of the highest paid players in the Premier League by far. You know, I know there's a couple of like Donnarumma and I think Van Dijk are maybe on like 500k a week or something. There's definitely some very high paid players in the Premier League at the moment. Is Victor Osimhen the answer to our problems? At this point, because of where we're at, like, João Pedro looks really good, but also can play in other positions. Liam Delap, absolutely not good enough. Marc Guéhi, obviously not good enough as of right now. With Xabi Alonso coming in, having a proper bagsman, a proper marksman at the front of it all, seems like a good idea, doesn't it? Is Victor Osimhen that guy? I'm still not convinced, and I'm putting it out there to you guys. Get in my comment section and convince me that Victor Osimhen is the right guy. It's, you know, I know, yeah, the Chelsea connection seems like a bit of a terse one, to be honest, but he, you know, John Obi Mikel was the guy, wasn't he? John Obi Mikel was like Agent Mikel that summer, where he was desperately trying to get, you know, Victor Osimhen to sign for Chelsea, and yeah, it just all came down to the money, though. It just came down to the money. The problem is, if you sign Victor Osimhen, how much of a deal does he get? Will he sign for like a 2-year deal or something, or a 3-year deal, or even something like that, even if it's on the absolutely staggering wages? Because if we do sign someone on that kind of money, a couple of permutations arise, don't they? A, you can't do it on a long contract because, for a couple of reasons, he's at the end of his career, and also the money he wants, like, you can't commit to paying someone for 8 years, and he'd be well into his 30s by that time, so that absolutely can't happen. The other obvious one is the wage structure that we've got in place at the moment. So although we've spent an absolute ridiculous amount on players, I don't even think we're that close to the top in terms of wages. We've got a lot of players, but none of our players are on crazy wages, and they're all taking a pay cut because we're not in the Champions League next season. So is it possible? Is it the right thing? Do we just go and give Victor Osimhen 400k a week in, you know, and hope that he comes and scores 20 goals a season? Does that make things difficult for João Pedro, who could kick on next season and also get a, you know, if João Pedro flourishes under Xabi Alonso and the new players that we bring in, look at the season that João Pedro's had already, like 15 goals in the Premier League, was 6-7 assists throughout the whole season. Excellent GA, done really, really well in a really struggling team, and he dipped in the middle of the season as well. So if you can have a consistent season next season, we're easily looking at 20 goals a season for João Pedro. So does Victor Osimhen coming in mean that we push him closer to the purported Barcelona links, for instance? So I don't know, man, I don't know. It's still very early days. The silly season is happening. We're going to be talking a lot about players today. But I really, really want to know what you guys think. Tell me about your thoughts on Victor Osimhen. Is he the right guy now? Maybe he was before, and even though I wasn't sure about it, like, I'm always willing to be wrong, don't get me wrong, it's what football's about, isn't it? You have your opinions and you see where they go. But is it the right thing to do right now? Is he worth the money? Could it upset other people in the squad who will not be on half of the wage that he's on? So let me know what you think in the comments and we'll have a chat about it. And guys, if you've made it this far into today's episode of the Stamford Sync, please do me the distinct honour of liking, sharing and hyping the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, so we're moving on and we're talking about Marc Cucurella. Transfer News Live posted this via Marca, which is a Spanish news outlet. Atletico Madrid's priority for an addition in defence is Marc Cucurella. It's a difficult negotiation, but Diego Simeone will push hard to make it happen. He fits the profile of player that the club like. They hope that the player's willingness to return to Spain will play in their favour. So this is the big one that's just come out, but there is also some terse news as well linking Marc Cucurella with a return to Barcelona. Barcelona, I don't think will probably happen because I don't think Barcelona are going to come and spend 100 mil on João Pedro and 70 mil on Cucurella or whatever, are they? It's just not going to happen. That's like, crazy amounts of money for them. But at the same time, I just really don't want this to happen. So what I've heard recently is supposedly one of the first players that Xabi Alonso called and spoke to was Marc Cucurella. I think Cucurella has played a really, really, really important role in our squad over the last few seasons. He's done for the most part, albeit like he's not always been perfect, but we've had horrendous dips in form. I don't necessarily judge Marc Cucurella too harshly for that because he's looked bad in a couple of games over the last few months. But at the same time, on his best day, which he has been a lot, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been one of our best players. He won the Euros with Spain. There's a winner in there. He's got character, personality. He's versatile. He can play at left back, left centre back. He can play in midfield. He can attack. He can score goals. And I cannot see Xabi Alonso looking at Marc Cucurella and being like, nah, it's fine, get rid of him. Could he turn him into the kind of Grimaldo figure that, scores a lot of goals and gets really involved with the attack because of how versatile he is? Really, really interesting. For me, Marc Cucurella is an absolute must keep. Like, we can't be weakening our squad that much. Yoro Hato looks like he's doing really well, playing a lot of left centre back at the moment. There's some other news about a left back that we're going to talk about in a minute, and Valentin Barco is also coming in, which we're also going to talk about a little bit later. But all of those downgraded Marc Cucurella. Doesn't make sense to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, PYS posted this via The Guardian. Breaking. Chelsea are one of the clubs interested in Jared Bowen, believing he could offer competition down the right wing and cover for the strikers. This one I'm not really sure about because, I don't know. It just doesn't... I don't even really have a solid reason, to be honest. Jared Bowen is a decent player, 100% he is, but I'm just not convinced it's necessarily the type of player that we need at the moment. We've got Cole Palmer, left-footed right winger. We've got Esteval Willian, left-footed right winger. As of right now, we've still got Pedro Neto, left-footed right winger. Is Jared Bowen the striker that we need? Oh, I don't know about that. If it was a toss-up between Osimhen and Jared Bowen, I'll take Osimhen as the striker option for sure. So this seems like a bit of a wild one. I guess at the end of the day, if West Ham get relegated, which is, a conversation to be had because, Tottenham and West Ham are taking it to the last day of the season. Jared Bowen's going to be one of a few players at West Ham that are good players that are going to be available. He's been there for a long time. He has been a really good player for them. He's played quite well for England as well, to be completely honest. He's been favoured by a few managers. Do I want him to see him at Chelsea next season? Not really. I'm still not convinced that we're going to go for a really winger-centric formation. Could Jared Bowen... I mean, it says here, plays, as right wing and striker. If, I don't know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Like I say, if we were going in for a striker, there are other people I'd rather see us go for than Jared Bowen. So again, guys, let me know what you think about this one in the comments. I imagine it's largely linked to the relegation thing, right? And even if they do stay up, maybe he goes anyway, because he's definitely due an upgrade move in his career for sure. He could be playing in Europe, maybe he could be going abroad. It's not that I don't think he's a good player, I just don't necessarily think that he's a right fit for us right now. Tell me what you think. All right, next up, more players. PYS posted this via Alex Crook on TalkSport. Newcastle are facing an uphill battle to keep former Chelsea Academy player Lewis Hall, who is open to leaving this summer. This one is interesting for a couple of reasons because Academy player, he's a Newcastle fan is my understanding, but Chelsea Academy player, so we did our part in raising him. He has gone on to do really, really well at Newcastle. He looks like a really, really good player. The left-back situation, I don't know. The thing is, with Valentin Barco coming in, again, we're going to get into that in a minute. Do we need a Lewis Hall? Is this kind of some indication that maybe Marc Cucurella could be on his way out? Yoru Hato can obviously play that position as well, but especially if we play a back three, Yoru Hato looks like he could get a lot of game time in that left centre-back position. He's a good player. I worry about how much it'd cost, because how much did we sell him for? It might, like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments here, 100%, but wasn't it like 20, 30 mil? Did we not make it like a pretty penny? I think it was like 30 mil. I think we made a pretty penny on Lewis Hall. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like we got a reasonable amount of money for him. Maybe it wasn't that much. I am getting confused, because maybe that was the same summer they sold Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest, and that was for 30 mil, and that was crazy at the time. But either way, Lewis Hall, is he worth going and spending 30, 40 mil on to get him back into the squad? I mean, would he upgrade our left-back situation at the moment? No, not necessarily, especially if we do manage to keep hold of Marc Cucurella. But if we lose Marc Cucurella and we have the likes of Valentin Barco, Yoru Hato, who are both very versatile players in their own right, by the way, because Yoru Hato is obviously excelling as a left centre-back. Valentin Barco, obviously, very good midfielder as well. It would be good to have someone solid to be playing that left-back / left wing-back position. Also, homegrown player, never a bad thing at all. And, you know, there's a little narrative there that he's a Chelsea Academy boy. So despite being a Newcastle fan, supposedly he's one of the players that might be on his way out of Newcastle this summer. Let me know what you think. Would it be a good addition to the squad? So I've mentioned him a few times. There is a tweet here from PYS via Ben Jacobs. Chelsea now have an agreement in place with Valentin Barco, confirmation likely at the end of the season. So this is the worst kept secret, really. Obviously, we've been talking about this for a little while now. I really like Valentin Barco. A couple of guys have, in my comments, have been talking about he's very diminutive, and yeah, I get that 100%. He's not a massive player, but at the same time, you think about, you know, what other diminutive players? Marc Cucurella, for one, diminutive player. Bernardo Silva, diminutive player. Santi Cazorla was a diminutive player. Luka Modric, not exactly a big guy, really, really good. So he's 21, I think, so he's still on the really, really young side. I really, really like Valentin Barco. I think he's got something about him. The versatility's great. He can make it. He plays really, really well in midfield. He can also play left back. He can also play left wing back. I just think it's a win-win-win, to be honest. And maybe he doesn't barrage straight into the first team. Maybe he's just a rotational player. But that's the kind of rotational player that we need at the moment, isn't it? Like, when you think about our left-back situation right now, it's Yoru Hato and Marc Cucurella, but Yoru Hato's been playing a lot more as centre-back. So the idea, supposedly, with Xabi Alonso as well, is that he's interested in trying out different formations. So a player like Valentin Barco could be really useful to him. I like the look of him. Tell me what you think. Right, next up, interesting one. PYS posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Enzo Maresca set to replace Pep Guardiola next season. He said yes months ago. So there's another tweet I saw, but I chose to use this one for the video, saying that supposedly he didn't leave Chelsea because of any agreement with City. I don't know. It's all a little bit close, isn't it? It's all a little bit close, because the news about Maresca being on City's list came out before he got sacked. Does it not just seem a little bit strange that all of a sudden we started doing pretty bad out of nowhere? Maresca comes out after one win in 8 games, after the Everton game, being like, this is the worst 24 hours I've had, 48 hours I've had, whatever it was. It was a PR nightmare. He knew exactly what he was doing. I'm not really a tinfoil hat guy, but the timing just adds up, doesn't it? Because like I say, after he came out and said what he said at Everton, that's when David Ornstein chose to drop that massive piece of news, that Enzo Maresca was high on the list of potential targets for Man City if Pep Guardiola leaves at the end of the season. I've got lots and lots and lots of thoughts about this. That really irritated me, the Everton thing, and it came in a really horrible stretch of form, and essentially he'd done really well with the team up until he didn't, essentially, and he was kind of blaming it on this one centre-back issue, but we'd managed to get into second place with him by December without Levi Colwill in the squad. So I was like, all of a sudden, the players were good enough, and now they're not. Things just started getting really bad. The football was boring and turgid, and towards the end of it, I was just happy to see him go, although I 100% appreciate him for the trophies. Like, the Club World Cup was loads of fun. Obviously, won the Conference League last year. That's great. The timing, you know, David Ornstein dropped that bomb literally straight after Enzo Maresca came out of the Everton thing, and that was before he'd gotten sacked as well. So for me, it all just kind of connected. Now, Maresca to City, to me personally, and again, this is a tinfoil hat video today, guys. We're doing tinfoil hats. To me, speaks to a bigger issue. I have a feeling that City are of the opinion that they are going to be quite harshly punished for the 115 charges. Now, the question as a Chelsea fan, that seems a bit hypocritical, doesn't it? Because we didn't get punished for the charges, but the nuance is very, very different. Our charges were levied at us whilst we were under a different ownership, and Chelsea self-reported to the Premier League about the issue. So they brought them forward, they cooperated, they let them look for everything, and they put it on a plate. Man City have been fighting this tooth and nail for a really, really, really long time, and that has made things more difficult for them. So for me, Enzo Maresca to City after Pep Guardiola. What, mate? Surely, there's better managers out there that you'd go and try and get. Surely, Luis Enrique, bring him into the Premier League. Even though he's doing really well with City, they'd build him an amazing team if they were feeling like they were going to be able to. Vincent Kompany, even Xabi Alonso. Surely Xabi Alonso was a much more interesting target than Enzo Maresca. And they will have known that Pep, So, for instance, this says here, Maresca said yes months ago. Surely, if they were looking to kick on from where they are and they're not expecting to lose their biggest players and they weren't expecting to get a points deduction, they'd have gone for Xabi Alonso. Just putting it out there, man. Just putting it out there. Like I say, I think that's the end of the tinfoil hat stuff for today. But for me personally, City signing Enzo Maresca says transition to me. It says that they're looking at getting a hefty points deduction one way or the other. You would have thought Erling Haaland, Rodri, players like this, see Enzo Maresca coming in. They're not like, this is the guy that's going to take me to the next level. This is the guy that's going to win me the Champions League. Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised to see Haaland leave City in the summer now. Especially got to think everything that's going on with Kylian Mbappe around Madrid and, lots of crazy stuff happening in the football world at the moment. So for me, the Maresca stuff, I think it's all a little bit too convenient. And obviously there's news coming out saying that it's all above board and whatever. But for me at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't know. I have a feeling that Maresca probably knew about this for a long time. And I also think that City might know that they've got something savage coming and maybe a points deduction for next season. So if that is the case, then Enzo Maresca is probably the perfect transitional manager because he knows the club obviously really well. He will know some of the young players from his time there at the academy. They've got a lot of young players at the moment, and they are probably willing to lose some of their bigger players in order to try and rebuild themselves financially. They'll get 100 million plus for Haaland easy, wouldn't they? Of course it will if they sell him because he signed a really big deal. So guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments. That's the end of the tinfoil hat section of today's video. But I think the Maresca to City news, it's a little bit sus. Cool, just a couple more to go through. Chelsea Doll just posted this. Mike Penders will return to Chelsea after his loan spell and fully integrate into the first team squad next season. Chelsea has faith in him and believe he possesses the qualities necessary to eventually become the number one. I agree with the sentiment. I agree with the fact that at 21 years old, I think last time I checked he was 20 and that was only a couple of months ago, he's doing a great job out of Strasbourg and he's definitely improving. The shot-stopping thing with Penders is the issue at the moment, plays very well with the ball at his feet, but is he ready for the Chelsea first team right now? I don't think so. I think personally we do need to get rid of both of our keepers, but the thing with Penders I'm concerned about is the Jordi Petrovic thing, right? If he's been a first-team goalkeeper for a whole season at Strasbourg now. I mean, he's played in Europe. He's been in the Conference League this season. And we bring him back to Chelsea. And look at Philip Jorgensen. Philip Jorgensen played 12 games this season, 13 games this season, something like that. Really, really, really small amount. Largely, that was because Robert Sanchez got dropped and because he got injured as well, didn't he? He got injured in the Brighton game. So, you got a couple of appearances there as well. If we go in for another goalkeeper, Penders probably becomes a number two, doesn't get that much game time. Or if we keep Robert Sanchez, we're expecting to drop Robert Sanchez again so Penders can become the number one. It's just a lot of pressure to put on him. And I don't know, I'm a little bit worried about that one, to be honest. I'd like to know what you think about it in the comments. For me, Sanchez needs to go. It's been 3 years. The experiment is over. He's a good shot stopper, but he cannot keep it together for an entire season. He's been dropped by 3 managers in a row. Philip Jorgensen, too young to be a number two, and he's got one eye out the door already. I am worried about the Jordi Petrovic / Philip Jorgensen situation happening to Penders, but let me know what you think. Next up, interesting one pertaining to Emanuel Emegha, who will be joining us from Strasbourg at the end of the season. PYS posted this via League One Plus on TikTok. Emegha, Blueco told me I could stay 1 more year, get to Europe and play in it. I played a big role in it as well. I understand the criticism from Strasbourg fans, but they must also understand I'm a footballer. I want to go as high as I can and Strasbourg is not my end destination. Chelsea is a good next step for me. Look, he has performed really well when he's been fit, essentially. Like, I think it was in the first 11 games of the season, he scored 7 goals and got like 3 assists. Do you know what I mean? Like, really, 3 assists. Really, really good player on his day, for sure. I think announcing him for next season at the start of this season, was a bad idea. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Even if the agreement was there, don't announce it at the beginning of the season, because European ultras, French fans in particular, are very, hyperbolic about this kind of thing. Like, loyalty is everything to them. And this season, it's literally, Emegha came out at the very beginning of the season and said, I'm going to Chelsea. And Chelsea obviously announced it. He's also had a couple of issues with like attitude, and I think he fell out with Osimhen at some point as well. There are a couple of little red flags about Emegha coming into the Chelsea squad, but at the end of the day, he's not just going to come into the first team straight away necessarily, because João Pedro's there at the end of the day. João Pedro, absolutely phenomenal season, and if we keep hold of him, which I'm pretty sure we are, Emegha's not just coming in and being like, I'm getting straight into that first team. He's going to have to come, he's going to have to work, he's going to have to play his way into the team if possible. So there's that. It's not like his talent is so obvious that we're just, Xabi Alonso's going to look at him and be like, you're my guy. And maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he does. But, I think I understand and I agree with what he's saying here. Like, he's a footballer. He's not French. He's not from Strasbourg. There's no connection to the club in that respect at all. He played really well for them last season, 14 goals in the league. He's played well for them this season when he's been fit. But he's not, like I say, there's no real massive club connection there, and he's looking on to the next step. And even look at the way he's talking about Chelsea. Chelsea is a good next step for me. So he's not seeing us as his end destination either, at the end of the day. So let me know what you think about Emanuel Emegha. Like I say, there are a couple of little red flags, I guess, in terms of the attitude thing, but he does look like a baller. And at the end of the day, I am just, if he comes in and scores 15 goals, 10 to 15 goals in the season, that's a lot better than 2 from Liam Delap in nearly 40 games, isn't it? So, it just is what it is. I'm going to wrap today's video up with 2 more pieces of news that I've combined together. PYS posted that João Pedro has been left out of Brazil's World Cup squad, and André Santos has also been left out of the squad. So I'm less surprised about André Santos, but I am really surprised about João Pedro. It's a win-win for Chelsea either way, isn't it? Because either João Pedro goes and plays with Brazil, unlocks something on the main stage and has a really good time, and he comes back feeling on top of the world because he's had a good tournament with Brazil. Maybe that's what happens. But the win is that even though he's not going, he's resting, because he has actually been unfit for large portions of the season. He's kind of bookended the season with fitness and form, to be honest. The middle was a bit of a dip. But now he's staying with us. He'll train. He'll get to know Xabi Alonso. He gets a full preseason along with Esteval William. So that's not the end of the world, is it? André Santos, less of a surprise, I guess. Like, André Santos has been good for us this season. Scored in the Tottenham game the other day. Love that. Nice one, André. Putting Tottenham to the sword. But it's not a huge surprise, I guess, as much with André Santos. Although he did play quite a lot in the, he made some appearances in the friendlies and the international breaks and stuff. João Pedro, to me, is the wild one there. I put a poll out about it the other day, and about 800 of you voted on it. And largely, it seems that people are more happy that he's going to be staying. That it's like a 40-60 split. 40% of you think he should have gone to the World Cup. A couple of you guys commented actually saying that, can't it be both? And it is both. Like I say, it absolutely is both. It's a win-win when it comes down to it. So guys, let me know what you think about that one in the comments. João Pedro in particular, not going to the World Cup. Do you think that's worse or better for us? Because, could he go and absolutely smash it in the World Cup and come back to us an evolved player, or is it just better that he's going to get the preseason with the manager and, be fresh for next season? Nice one, guys. I'm going to start wrapping it up there. Thanks very much for sticking around to the end of the video if you did, but I want to know about everything that I've talked about today. Let's have a little look. Victor Osimhen. We're there again, Victor Osimhen. Is he going to come? Is it worth it? Is he worth the wages if they're as high as he wanted before? Marc Cucurella to Atletico Madrid. Don't love that one myself. Jared Bowen from West Ham. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one either. Lewis Hall, be interesting player depending on what goes on with the left-back situation. Valentin Barco's on his way. My tin hat conspiracy about Enzo Maresca to Man City. Let me know what you think about that. Mike Pender's coming back to try and compete to be the number 1 next season. Is it too soon? Emanuel Emegha, is he a problem waiting to happen, or is he going to come and absolutely smash it? And let me know what you think about our Brazilian players being left out of the squad. Thanks very much, guys. Nice one. I'll catch up with you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.